Hello and welcome to the Booth Library Podcast. Na Halloween edition. Woo! Spooky music. Andy, feel free to insert spooky music and lightning bolts and very cackling voices. Here. Okay. Okay. Welcome, boils and ghouls. My name is Joseph Morse. I am a library specialist here at Booth Library, and I work down in the basement in acquisitions, where I am haunted by the ghost of Mary J. Booth, which we will talk about later. And with me, as always, is
Logan Braddock, library assistant, library technology services.
Nice. All right. So we decided to try to slap a Halloween episode together here at the last minute with, I think, 2 weeks before Halloween, barely 2 weeks before Halloween. So we'll see how this pans out. So Logan, you a fan of the macabre?
I used to be, as a kid, trick-or-treating was always a big deal, but
right. As
an adult,
not really your wheelhouse?
Not really.
You're more of a sci-fi guy, right?
For sure.
Yeah. I used to be a big horror hound. I was a big fan of gore and whatnot, but I'm old now, so I've gotten very, very lame. So anyway, I recently had to do a display about the haunting of Pemberton Hall. So I will now read you from my own stupid display that I made.
This was for the 125th anniversary exhibit?
Yeah, for the 125th EIU celebration. I'm on me and Logan are both on the exhibits committee. You're on the committee, right, Logan?
Yep.
Okay, just making sure. We don't have in-person meetings anymore, so who knows who's on what committee anymore? We don't know. So anyway, yeah, and I kind of slapped together a little thing about the haunting of Pemberton Hall. So I'm gonna talk about that. And again, Andy, if you have any cute, spooky music or lightning bolts or anything, now's a good time for that. So, the haunting of Pemberton Hall. For generations, residents of Pemberton Hall have noticed odd happenings in their building, strange creaking sounds at night, doors closing and even locking on their own, and eerie sounds of a piano being played with no one around to play it. In some of the more extreme reports, residents have spoken of a ghostly woman dressed in white, what did I write there? Flitters? That's not even a word. Who floats through the hallways only to vanish without a trace. What is the haunting of Pemberton Hall? Although there are many different versions of the story, the most common one involves a young student named Angela and a stern headmistress named Mary. Occurring sometime around 1918, the tale goes that Angela was staying in Pemberton Hall over Christmas break. The only other occupants of the building were Mary, the headmistress, and a janitor. Angela went up to the fourth floor to play the piano, which I cannot say. As she was lost in her art, the janitor crept up behind her and violently attacked her. I don't know. I'm trying to make noises here. He ultimately fled, leaving her bloody and bruised body behind. Desperate for help, Angela crawled downstairs to the headmistress's room. Unfortunately, Mary was asleep and could not hear Angela clawing at the door or her gargled cries for help. I can't read for crap today. When Mary awoke the next morning, she opened the door to find Angela's corpse lying on the floor of the hallway, her nails embedded in the door. I'm making scratching motions with my hand that you can't see because this is a podcast. Mary was horrified and overcome with guilt and terror, ultimately died in a mental institution. The story goes that it's Mary's ghost that perpetually haunts the hallways of Pemberton Hall, ensuring that no other young girls suffer the same grisly fate as Angela. So anyway, that's the story. But there's a bunch of different versions of the story. You can look them up online. What's interesting is, to me, it's like that it's the headmistress that's the ghost and not the woman that was brutally attacked and murdered by the creepy janitor. Also, it's a bad story for janitors. Janitors don't turn out so good in that story. They're apparently. But anyway.
When did that story kind of come about? How long has it been around for?
Well, I believe it's been kind of a thing, like I said, since like the 20s or so. And it's kind of one of those stories that I think at different times it's had a little more, relevance or whatever, depending on the year and the time and whatnot. So anyway, another ghost story is one that I totally have not just made up and have been spreading around the library for the last few years. And that is the fact that Booth Library itself is haunted by the ghost of Mary J. Booth.
So you totally made this up?
I totally did not make this up. So, no, it's true. Mary J. Booth hunts the library. That's why the first floor is always so cold, because she's making it cold because she's a ghost. And she moves books around all the time. Like, I'm always finding books in places they're not supposed to be. It has to be a ghost. It surely wouldn't be student workers or anyone from Cirque or students. So it's got to be Mary J. Booth moving the books around to mess with people.
That's the only explanation for misshelved items.
That's the only explanation for
That's the
misshelved
only logical
items.
thing.
That's the only logical explanation. Also, if you're in the men's room, sometimes the automatic faucets will turn on when you're not in front of them. Like, I'll be on one faucet, and then the faucet 3 down will turn on, and it'll just start running. And that's Mary J. Booth, because she's creepy and she likes to spy on people in the bathroom. And then she washes her hands, her ghost hands, her ghostly hands. So also, the dean of the library, Zach, has told me on several occasions he's come into his office, and in blood written on the window of his office is Library of Congress. Library of Congress has been written in blood on the windows of Zach, the dean's office, on several different occasions. He mentioned this to me personally.
Oh,
this is a real thing and not
creepy.
something I'm making up on the spot. So that's The Haunting of Booth Library by Mary J. Booth, the founder and namesake of Booth Library. She loves Booth so much she couldn't let it go, and now she's become a soulless, insane ghost haunting us in the bathroom. All right. So all that nonsense aside, we also are going to talk a little bit. This will probably be a bit of a short episode because we're totally just pulling it out today. But me and Logan are going to do our top 5 scary, horror, Halloween-y themed things. I think stuff we can find in the library, right?
I
We
believe
stuck
so,
to that?
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, I tried to stick to stuff we could find in the library. So we're going to do that. So without further ado, Logan, if you would like to start with your number 5.
Number 5. I went with Rear Window by Alfred Hitchcock.
Nice.
And so that is... Hitchcock for me is kind of borderline scary.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of suspenseful,
Yeah.
kind of whodunit, but...
I mean, I'd say like Psycho is a full-on horror movie.
Yeah.
And I think some of it, like The Birds, some of his other films, are pretty straight up. And I think Rear Window is kind of on the edge of it. And I think it's also inspired a lot of other horror films too. So it could be, I would take it. So tell us a little bit about Rear Window for those that are not aware of Alfred Hitchcock's famous film.
So Rear Window, a guy he's in an apartment complex and he hurts his leg. And so he hurts his leg and he's laid up in a cast and he's just kind of sitting around, and then he's got a pair of binoculars. And so he's kind of creepily peeping on the adjacent apartment complex across the road.
Right.
And so while he's just kind of peeping around, then he sees what he believes to be a murder. And so then it's kind of this, did he actually see what he thinks he saw, or what's going on?
Right.
And so just kind of, it's very suspenseful. Was it an actual murder? And trying to figure out who did it as well.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I know The Simpsons did a parody of Rear Window, but I'm trying to remember if it was a regular episode or if it was a Halloween episode. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll just have to rewatch the whole series again, and that way I'll figure it out.
And we didn't see Joseph Morse for 3 months.
All right. My number 5 is house, or hausu, or however the Japanese pronounce the word house. This is not to be confused with the medical drama starring that British guy with a really good American accent. This was a Japanese film from, I want to say the late 70s, early 80s maybe. And it is weird. Basically these girls, I've only watched it once, but it's hard to describe. Basically these girls go to a house and weird stuff starts happening, and it's you kind of got to see it to believe it, because the director didn't really know what he was doing, which makes it awesome. So he does all these kind of weird effects that are just surreal, and I don't know, it's a very hodgepodge, very bizarre little film. And we've got it somehow. So if you've got a chance, check it out, because it is a weird little Japanese movie. So, Logan, number 4.
My next one is The Shining.
Ooh, nice.
So it's a Jack Nicholson stars in it. And they go to this hotel.
Yep.
And I believe he's a writer, correct?
He's a writer, but he's in the hotel to work as a caretaker of the hotel over the winter.
Right. And then it just kind of devolves into craziness from there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those Jack Nicholson losing his mind movies.
That he's perfect for.
Yeah, yeah. No, that dude did crazy well. Yeah, it's also a Stanley Kubrick film. So if for some reason you're a Stanley Kubrick fan and you haven't seen The Shining 40 times, go watch The Shining. And it's based on a Stephen King novel, although there's a lot from the book in there, but there's a lot that's different too. And I guess I think there's a lot different between the two. I know one of the things that's kind of interesting is I think Kubrick was an atheist, so he didn't want to actually. There's ghosts in the movie that torment everybody, but he didn't want to make it seem like he believed in an afterlife. So I think he kind of tried to make sure that the ghosts don't really interact with anyone, so that it's not seeming like, he's promoting there being an afterlife or whatever. I think. I don't know. I read that somewhere. So, The Shining. All right, what do I got for number 4? I got to get my phone out again. Reanimator. For those of you who have not seen this cult classic horror film, Reanimator is based on a short story by H.P. Lovecraft, that horrible racist writer who wrote really, really good horror books. And Reanimator, it's about this Herbert West is a student, and he's a medical student, and he's obsessed with conquering death. And he eventually comes up with this formula that reanimates corpses, and hilarity ensues. And it's actually kind of a funny movie, but it's also super gory and super weird. I can't remember the name of the lead actor, but he's absolutely great. And he popped up on a lot of Star Trek shows later on. I want to say Jeffrey Combs. That sounds right. But anyway, it's a really good flick if you're into really gory flicks. It's a cult classic, and yeah, it's also technically a zombie movie. So if you like zombie movies, it's really fun. Number three. This
is a lot different than what we have been talking about, but it's something that I watch every year since I've been a kid. And that's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Nice. That's a good pick.
So ever since I've been a kid, I've watched Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
See, I would like to spend the night in the pumpkin patch waiting on the Great Pumpkin myself. I think that would be a good time. I don't think my wife would go for it though. My wife would not do like Lucy and stand by me in the pumpkin patch all night. She'd be like, "It's cold, I'm going home." And I'd be like, "But the Great Pumpkin, he's coming. The Great Pumpkin is coming to give me gifts." Unbeliever. But anyway, so what do you, I mean, besides the fact that it's a classic, what do you like about The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown? Logan?
I mean, I love Charlie Brown stuff, and it's just a lot of fun. I mean, it's just, I don't know how you describe.
Yeah, no, I did.
It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. Did you ever get rocks for Halloween? Did you ever go to a house and get rocks?
No, we never got rocks.
I never got rocks either.
But there's always like the good houses that you know of, and then the not so good houses.
Yes, there is. There is.
Like there'd be one house on the block, and they always gave out king size candy bars.
Yep.
So you always hit that house pretty early. Then there was the houses that gave it like apples.
Yeah, the Apple House.
Yeah.
Oh, the Apple House. Oh, and nobody likes the Apple House.
The apples were always mushy. They were never like a great apple.
No, they were bad apples. I used to hate getting popcorn balls. Do you ever get a popcorn ball?
Yes.
Yeah, I never liked getting popcorn balls. I mean, I appreciate that someone could. I think they started like mass producing popcorn balls at some point, but back in the dinosaur days that I come from, they would like some houses would home make popcorn balls and wrap them up in cellophane and give you popcorn balls.
We had one house that did that.
Yeah, we did too. And it's not chocolate. It's it's pop. It's kind of styrofoamy by the time you actually eat it. It's no good. Let's see what else was bad. Pink bubble gum was never welcome.
Yeah,
because it was like of all the. I mean, bubble gum itself is not very Halloweeny in my opinion.
Yeah.
Unless it's at the center of a Tootsie Pop, then it's cool. But like bubblegum's not very Halloweeny. And then like pink bubblegum is just like the lamest of all the bubblegums.
Like 2 chews and it's lost all flavor.
Yeah, 2 chews, it's lost all flavor. I mean, what even is it? It's pink bubblegum. It's not a flavor. It's a color. And of course, candy corn was, I mean, you'd eat it. I ate the candy corn. I don't know if maybe you guys just throw your candy corn out. I would eat the candy corn because, it was still candy.
I don't know that we ever had a house that gave out candy corn.
I definitely got candy corn because it would just be like, candy corn. I don't remember getting licorice though. Because people would complain about like licorice or especially like black licorice. And I never got licorice. So that was good because I don't like licorice. No, I take that back. I think occasionally you get Twizzlers.
Yeah, I get Twizzlers.
Yeah, I didn't like Twizzlers. I'm not a fan. One time, my buddies, when I had my own house and I was handing out candy to trick-or-treaters, one time my buddies taped up pennies and they were gonna give taped up pennies to the kids. And I was like, don't do that. I don't want my house to get egged. So we did not hand out taped up pennies to the kids. And my house did not get egged, thankfully. The whole time I lived by myself in Clay City, I managed to, I don't think I ever got TP'd. I don't think the whole time I was there, and I was there for like over a decade. So I didn't apparently make anyone too mad at me. And I think my friends were too old and lazy to TP me by then. So it was a good time. Did your house ever get TP'd, Logan?
Yeah, because my brother usually TP'd everyone else, so then
it was revenge.
Retribution, yeah.
See, my parents, after I left, they would get it every year because my mom was a teacher.
Right.
Yeah, so, but that was after my time, because usually I think I'd usually kind of stay up and guard the house. I chased my cousin off one year. It was pretty fun. So yeah, let's see. Okay. I lost the thread of that one there, didn't I? But that's okay. We had a little time to kill.
That's good. Good filler.
Yeah. All right. Number 3 on my list, Hellraiser. Hellraiser is another cult classic horror film. It's hard to even think of it as a cult classic because it was really popular, and there's been like 1 billion Hellraiser movies. Hellraiser is based on The Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker, and we'll get back to Clive Barker here in a minute. And the movie was actually written and I believe directed by Barker too. So Barker did like all the work. And it's a pretty faithful adaptation of the book. There's some changes here and there, but for the most part, it's a pretty faithful adaptation, which makes sense because Barker wrote and directed it. And basically, it's about a puzzle box. And if you solve the puzzle box, it opens a gateway to hell. And these demons called Cenobites come from hell and rip you to shreds because they think it's a good time. Their definition of a good time is not the same as you and I's definition of a good time, people. They think ripping you into bloody shreds is a party. It's not a party. But yeah, it's one of my all-time favorite horror films. We actually have it here at the library. If you've never seen it, go watch it. It's bloody as all get out. It's great. And it also features one of my favorite horror movie monsters of all time, Pinhead, who is a guy with a bunch of pins in his head. And he looks really cool. He doesn't really actually do much, but he looks really cool. So, as my number 3. Number 2, Logan, what we got?
The Exorcist, the movie that creeped me out to no end as a kid.
Nice. The Exorcist. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. It seems, it looks different now that, technology has advanced and everything, but as a kid, it freaked me out.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, it's funny. Whenever I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to watch horror movies, but it was the 80s, and there was a lot of, like, creepy stuff anyway that you could watch. The scariest movie that I watched as a kid was Beetlejuice, because there's a scene in Beetlejuice where I'm trying to think of basically the handrail of the staircase turns into like this Beetlejuice snake thing and like attacks people, and it's all done with like really cheesy stop motion animation, which made it look even scarier. So it was like, yeah, stop motion animation is like, it doesn't hold up, but when you're a kid, that stuff is so scary because it's so weird the way it moves. Like, it's fake, but it's so creepy. And Beetlejuice was loaded with stuff like that. Like the giant sandworms were also stop motion animated, and they were fantastic, and they scared the crap out of me as a kid. So anyway, what movie were we talking about? The Exorcist. All right, what's The Exorcist about, Logan?
It pretty well is just about a couple of priests coming into a house to exorcise a demon out of a little girl. And yeah, it doesn't go well.
It does not go well. It doesn't go well for anybody. Yeah, and a lot of scenes in that movie are like they've been used and parodied and ripped off and a lot. Yeah, like the child spinning her head 360 degrees, that comes from that film, and that's been used and abused a lot. And her vomiting up pea soup is a whole thing. And that's become rather infamous. over time. And and people bellowing, "The power of Christ compels you," is from The Exorcist. Although maybe that's just what they say at an actual exorcism. I don't know. I've never been to one because all my demons are inside, baby. So let's see. What do we got? Oh, number 2. Okay, I'm going to actually do a book now instead of a movie. My next 2 are books. But we've got a copy of Clive Barker's book, Cabal, which I believe should also have the short story, The Last Illusion, in it. And Cabal was adapted into the film Nightbreed, and The Last Illusion was adapted into the film Lord of Illusions. And both the movies are pretty good. I think both of them, I know Barker had a hand in both of them, but I don't remember what all he did. I don't know if he wrote them both or directed them both or what. The movies are good, but the books are much better. Cabal is basically about a society of monsters that live underneath a graveyard, and they basically just want to be left to their own devices. But people find out about them and try to drag them up into the light and murder them and everything. And they're like, "But we're just monsters chilling out and being chill. Why do you want to kill us?" And the people are like, "'Cause you're monsters. We kill monsters. Boo." And fighting ensues, and it's great. Like I said, the movie's good, but the book's better because the book has an unlimited special effects budget that the movie did not have. And the movie's also I think it was made in the 80s, so it obviously had limitations to it. The Last Illusion is a really good short story. It features Clive Barker's character Harry Delmore, who is a supernatural investigator, and he is tasked with protecting the corpse of a magician overnight. And basically hell itself comes to claim the corpse of this magician. And Harry has to stop this barrage of demons. And the demons in the book are so cool. There's one that's got hundreds of legs. And so all of its legs are clonking up the stairs. And it's it's crazy. So it's a really cool book. The movie kind of sucks, but it's kind of okay too in that sort of way. But the movie isn't really that much like the book. It's quite a bit different. Although it does star Scott Bakula of Quantum Leap fame. So big up for having Scott Bakula in that film. Really cool. Oh, it also has one of my favorite lines of all time. I think it's well, are you a Christian or whatever? And he's like, "Yeah, I'm Christian, Buddhist, Jewish, Muslim. Man can't have too many saviors." I always liked that line. All right. What do we got for your number 1, Logan?
Number 1, I don't know if I would qualify it exactly as Halloween, but it's kind of a thriller, and so that would be Signs.
Oh, Signs. Okay. No, that's... Again, Hitchcock and M. Night Shyamalan are both that sort of thriller type of genre, so they're adjacent. And Signs has got monsters in it. You don't really get to see them very much, but they're there. So I'd say it's good. I'd say it's good for Halloween.
Yeah. So I remember watching it as a kid, right during Halloween time is when I first saw it. And yeah, you don't see the monsters for quite a while, but then whenever they show up, I remember they just scared the heck out of me.
Yeah, because you only catch glimpses of them, and it's in the dark.
Right.
So, you're like, what are these things? What?
And Mel Gibson, Joaquin Phoenix are both good in this film.
Yeah. It's another one of those, we were talking earlier about how, Jack Nicholson plays crazy well. Same goes for Mel Gibson. Of course, later we'd find out he was crazy, so it wasn't much of a leap.
Joaquin Phoenix is pretty crazy too. So
yeah, no, there's 2 guys that are really good at playing crazy that basically are kind of playing crazy in this movie, and yeah, and it was when Shyamalan was still kind of he was still on the ball.
Yeah, he was definitely. I mean, he had Sixth Sense and then Unbreakable, and then this.
This was the third one.
And this was really kind of the peak.
Yeah. This was where he was still doing good at this point. This was before The Village, where things went bad fast. And the performances are really good. Pacing is good. It's a good flick.
Good M. Night Shyamalan films are really good.
Yeah.
And bad M. Night Shyamalan films.
Really bad.
Really bad.
Really bad. All right. I think I just got a grocery list from my wife, which has nothing to do with Halloween.
Is there any candy? Is that on the list?
Is there any candy on the list? There is not. My number one is literally any Stephen King book. I was like, I'm not choosing. They're all great. I should have checked our full listing of Stephen King books here at the library, but I know we got a lot. I know I've processed quite a few in the last few years of his newer works because the man don't stop. But yeah, King, there's a reason why we call him the master of horror. I know it's not a very hoity-toity pick, but I always liked King's books. I started reading them when I was in high school, and I never really stopped. I recently reread all of the Gunslinger books and really enjoyed them. And but yeah, really any of them are good. I don't know. I can't remember for sure what ones we got, but Carrie's cool. It is like the best horror book. Actually, It is probably the best like straightforward horror book King ever wrote because it's just so, it's creepy. It's kids fighting a horrible thing, that sometimes shows up as an evil clown and sometimes shows up as a werewolf and sometimes shows up as some other horrible thing. And, but the kids are, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like they're outgunned, but they're also clever and that cleverness saves them. So, and then later they're adults. Well, actually the movies split it up into like two time periods, but the book bounces back and forth between the two time periods, which is actually really clever because once you get to the climax when they're kids, you're also getting to the climax when they're adults, So nothing is really spoiled as you go, It's not like, oh, we've seen this all before because it's all happening at the same time in parallel. And it's really amazing he was able to pull it off because I think he was drunk and high the whole time he wrote the book. So, kudos to Stephen King for managing to get the words onto the paper in the right order. But yeah, really any Stephen King's good Stephen King. He's great. So that's our top 5 Halloween-y type of books and movies and whatnot. So Logan, you got anything else for us today? Do you got any scary stories?
I don't have any scary stories.
Do you got any more movies that like freaked you out as a kid? Because the other one I always mention is Gremlins, and the reason why Gremlins freaked me out as a kid because when I was a kid, they built it as like this kids movie. It was supposed to be like this fun little comedy romp, and then you go watch the movie, and Gremlins are like stabbing people to death with needles and stuff, and it's freaky. Like Gremlins 2 was the movie you thought Gremlins 1 was supposed to be. Like Gremlins 2 was cute. It was funny. It was goofy. There was a cameo by Bugs Bunny. It was great. Gremlins 1 is hardcore, scary, nasty, freaky crap. And it was like, what is this? I wanted to watch a cute movie with a little cute puffball and a little cute collar. And instead he's being tortured by evil green things. It's a freaky movie.
I think when I was a kid, the Blair Witch Project came out. And, we were forbidden as kids from watching that movie.
I was forbidden from watching it because I didn't give a crap.
And there was one kid at school who actually saw it. So then he was telling everyone how terrifying it was.
Oh, that's pretty good. See, that was my thing. Like when I was a kid, I grew up in the 80s, which was like the golden era of like slasher movies, but I wasn't allowed to watch any of them, but I was obsessed with them. So I would dig up anything I could find. And I'd ask my buddies who got to watch the movies, like, what happens in Friday the 13th part 6, and stuff like that. And it's like, what's Freddy do in A Nightmare on Elm Street part 4? How many different ways does he kill people? It's great. Tell me all about it. And then finally, I got my driver's license and I just consumed every horror film ever made. And it was great. So anyway, yeah. But yeah, that was me. Logan, not so much. I don't think, Logan, you didn't get your driver's license and immediately go to the video store and rent everything, did you?
No, definitely not horror films.
That's too bad. It was a fun time. So anyway, I think we're getting pretty close to time, and I think Logan has to get back to the desk. So this has been the Booth Library Podcast special. Oh, yours is so much better than mine. Halloween edition. Man, we should have had you laughing from the beginning. My name is Joseph Morse.
I'm Logan Braddock.
And thank you for listening. Have a creepy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Woo!